First of all, I'd like to thank Erin and Julianne for inviting me today and for coordinating this. I'm happy to be here and talking with the Junior Investigator Network about strategies to improve outcomes for young children with or at risk for developmental delays. So the focus of, sorry, wait, I missed something. Yes. So I am an associate professor at UD. I'm in the physical therapy department, and this is my lab. If you've ever been to Star Campus, I'm right across from the physical therapy clinic. If you haven't been there, please come by and visit. I also have an appointment in fashion and apparel studies because I've done a lot of things with wearables, rehabilitation wearables to support children who have trouble moving. So like exoskeletons and things like that. But I'm not talking about that work today, but happy to talk about that with people if they have interest. I am a pediatric physical therapist. That's what my clinical training and experience is in. And my research aims at trying to understand typical developmental processes specifically so we can figure out what things we can manipulate to advance development for kids who have developmental delays. I also am because I'm a clinician who came back for research, I'm very focused on interventions. And so I do a lot of work evaluating and developing technologies and activity-based interventions to improve child outcomes. And some of those activity-based interventions I'm going to talk about today. I also have a website where you can find DIY manuals for all of the things that we have made with my wearable work or other technology work. So hopefully that can support any kids that you might work with. So today's presentation, I want to talk about a couple of solutions that I'm working on to improve outcomes for young children with or at risk for developmental delays, because we know that almost 20% of US children have developmental delays that can have lasting impacts, in school, their family life, daily activities. We know that the number of kids with developmental delays is increasing, but we also know that very, very few of those children are identified and receive services in the first 2 years of life for a number of reasons, starting with challenges associated with identification tools or early assessment tools, all the way up through barriers like wait lists for early intervention, or maybe people not valuing early intervention. So how do we reach those families and help those children who are not receiving services that they need to address their delays? So that's what I want to talk about today. And one way that we are looking to reach those families or address those needs is by supporting doctors with some new technologies. So primary care providers are expected to make decisions about delay with very, very little information. So kids come in for their well child visits, and you're supposed to assess how the child is doing overall, their health, a physical exam, vaccines, all of this type of care. And then in just a few minutes, decide, is that child developing appropriately, or should I be referring that child for services? So I've been working on an SBIR through NIH with Ben 10 Technologies, and we are developing pre-care, the platform to recognize and evaluate children for age-appropriate response and early detection of delays. So it's a mouthful, but what it essentially is doing is trying to tap into things that parents are already using, their video monitors, and looking at that video data using computer vision and AI then to determine what behaviors the kids are doing, so we could get more data about their behaviors in the natural environment, so we could send information about how they're moving, how they're communicating, how they're problem solving to their primary care providers and provide them with more data to support their decision making. So we hope that that will help improve early identification of developmental delays, so people are not waiting to see what happens. They now have more data across time to see a trajectory. And if the trajectory doesn't look good, they can recommend an evaluation by early intervention. The other intervention that I wanted to talk to you briefly about today is the first tool is really more for identification. This tool is for intervention. So I have a whole host of brief individual studies that have shown if we educate parents about how to interact with their babies using evidence-based principles from child development, we can improve their motor and their cognitive outcomes. So I now want to put that together for parents for a year-long program, an educational curriculum throughout the first year where parents get quality recommendations for how to interact with their infants. And that is the Best Play program. So it's babies excelling strategically through play. And it's innovative because even if our assessments still need improvement, even if there are still wait lists for early intervention, all these other barriers, parents are looking for information. The majority of parents, 90-something% of parents, tell us that they are looking up what to do and what to expect for babies. So they are looking toward popular apps, books, websites, and most of those are not created by healthcare providers. And when we did a content analysis, a systematic content analysis of those sources, we found that what parents are going to find is mostly lists of milestones. So you're not getting many recommendations about what to do. You're getting lists of what to expect. And that makes you a very passive parent, right? I'm just going to sit and wait. It'll happen on its own, right? When there were activities recommended for parents, they were very poor in quality when we rated them in quality based on incorporating recommendations from the scientific literature that are known to support motor, cognitive, and language development. So the idea of Best Play would be that we give recommendations about what to do with babies based on scientific evidence, things that we know are going to support development for children. So the great thing about this is that then it empowers parents so they can adapt activities that they're already doing. It's not like, let's set aside time and do something new in your day. It's adapting things that you're already doing. So holding your baby, putting your baby down when you need to get things done, interacting with your baby socially, playing with toys, setting up toys for your baby to play with alone or with you, and communication. So those are the types of things that are targeted. And we did do a pilot randomized controlled trial with a subset of Best Play, and we had 35 infants with typical development, 14 with or at risk for developmental delay. And parents received, in this case, just written illustrated instructions for the activities. And there was a control group that performed common play activities that were present in the literature in our content analysis, but were not high quality. And then the intervention group received these high quality Best Play activities. And they were asked to perform those activities with their babies for a month. And the good news is that we found high feasibility for both groups. Parents just are looking for information. They don't know what to do with babies. And so there was high feasibility. People found both intervention activities meaningful and enjoyable. There was high fidelity for our Best Play intervention activities. So even with just pictures and descriptions, parents were able to enact the activities the way that we had intended for them to do. And then for infants with typical development, Best Play improved their cognition and their motor development. And for infants with or at risk for delay, Best Play improved their gross motor, fine motor, and receptive language development. And so this really extends our prior research that supports components of the interventions, and now we're putting it all together. I am lucky that I've gotten some funding from the Maggie E. Newman Health Sciences Research Fund, and I'm working with videographers and photographers and web developers to create a website that has this video and photographic content. Parents have told us that that's how they prefer to receive their training, and they like videos. So now we're doing some video shoots with infants. And if anybody knows a parent and infant who would like to participate, we're looking for people right now. Anybody birth through just starting to walk. So I am always interested in collaborating with people. So I'm interested in collaborating with people who are clinical and community partners who would like to help me implement and evaluate these solutions with kids who have risk, socioeconomic risk and or medical risk factors for developmental delay. And then I'm always open to talking to people about needs that families have and developing additional novel solutions that we can develop to support children and families. So thank you.